They call me the wealthiest girl in town, and maybe that's true. I have more than anyone else, mansions on the hills, cars lined like soldiers in the driveway, jewelry that could feed families for decades. But wealth isn't just about money. It's about power. It's about fear. And sometimes, it's about secrets you pray no one will ever dig up. The truth is, I wasn't born into this life. I inherited it in the strangest and darkest of ways. My house looms over the entire town, a sprawling Gothic mansion with towers and windows that glow like watchful eyes at night. It once belonged to the Marlowe family, the kind of dynasty that wrote history in blood and gold. Old Mr. Marlowe, the patriarch, died mysteriously 5 years ago. Some say his heart gave out. Others whisper it wasn't natural at all. His fortune had no heirs, none that anyone knew about. But the day after his funeral, a lawyer arrived at my tiny apartment in the city and handed me a sealed envelope. Inside, in stiff handwriting, it read, "To my granddaughter, the rightful heir of the Marlowe fortune." My mother never told me who my father was. I guess I found out too late. Within weeks, I moved into the Marlowe estate. I went from eating instant noodles in a cracked bowl to dining under chandeliers on plates rimmed with gold, and yet, it never felt like mine. The walls seemed to whisper when I walked past. Doors closed when no one touched them. At night, I'd hear footsteps in the halls, slow, deliberate, heavy. Being rich in a small town is like living inside a glass coffin. Everyone can see you, but you can't breathe without their gossip. Shopkeepers smile too wide when I enter. Children dare each other to ring the mansion's gate and run away screaming. Men want to marry me. Women want to be me or destroy me. But it isn't just envy. There's fear in their eyes. Fear of the house. Fear of the name Marlowe. One evening, I asked the baker's wife why everyone always went quiet when I walked into her shop. She looked at me, pale and trembling, and said, "Because no one who holds the Marlowe fortune lives long enough to spend it." I laughed it off, but her words followed me home. The mansion has 97 rooms. 96 are open, though most are coated in dust and locked behind iron keys. But there's one, the 97th. A black oak door at the end of the top floor's corridor. No key, no handle, just a door that seemed to breathe. Every night at exactly 3 a.m., I'd hear scratching from behind it. Sometimes whispering. Sometimes a sound like fingernails dragging slowly down the wood. One night, I pressed my ear against the door. "Get out," a voice hissed. I didn't sleep for 3 nights after that. Strangers began arriving at the mansion. Not guests, not friends, strangers. An old man with cloudy eyes came first. He left a box at my door and said nothing, only bowing before he shuffled away. Inside the box was a mirror cracked down the middle. When I looked into it, my reflection smiled half a second too late. The next week, a woman in black knocked on the door. She claimed to be a historian, asking to see the library. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She ran her fingers over the spines of the books and whispered, "They're watching you." Then she left without taking a single note. The third visitor never knocked. He was already inside. I found him standing at the foot of my bed at midnight, staring. A tall man in a gray suit, with skin too pale, eyes too sharp. He whispered one sentence before fading into the darkness. "Your wealth was bought with blood. Their debt is yours now." In the mansion's basement, I discovered a hidden safe behind a wall of wine racks. It took me weeks to figure out the combination, but when it clicked open, I found a thick leather ledger inside. The pages were brittle, filled with names, dates, and amounts of money. At first, I thought it was just business records. But then I noticed the column labeled "Payment Received" and another labeled "Outcome." Every name had the same outcome: dead. The Marlowes didn't build their fortune on trade. They built it on deals with people who never lived to see them fulfilled. And then, at the very end of the book, I found my name, written in fresh ink. No outcome yet. From that night on, the mansion changed. I'd catch movement in the mirrors, figures darting behind me when I turned. Lights flickered, voices echoed in empty rooms. The scratching at the 97th door grew louder, angrier, more desperate. I started sleeping with the lights on, but even that didn't help. Shadows crept along the walls, stretching fingers toward me. Sometimes I'd wake up and find muddy footprints circling my bed. The worst was the dream. The same one, over and over. I'm standing in the grand dining hall, the table set for a feast. One by one, the dead from the ledger rise from the chairs, faces gray, eyes hollow, mouths open in a silent scream. And at the head of the table sits old Mr. Marlowe, grinning with rotten teeth. "You are one of us now," he says. I lasted 3 months in the mansion before the night came when I couldn't ignore the 97th door any longer. At 3 a.m., the scratching became pounding. The whispers became screams. The entire house shook as if something was trying to tear its way out. I ran up the staircase, heart hammering, candle trembling in my hand. When I reached the black door, it was no longer smooth. It bulged outward, as if something alive pressed from inside. And then it opened. A blast of cold air hit me. The room beyond was pitch black, endless, but filled with rows of faces, those from the ledger, staring, whispering, reaching, hands clawed out of the dark, pulling at my arms, my hair, my throat. I screamed, but no sound came out. From within the darkness, old Mr. Marlowe stepped forward. His eyes glowed like coals. He pressed a skeletal hand to my chest and whispered, "You are the wealthiest girl in town, because you inherited their debts. Their souls are yours to carry." The hands dragged me down, deeper into the dark. I woke in my bed at sunrise, drenched in sweat, the black oak door standing wide open. I thought it was a nightmare, until I saw the ledger on my nightstand. The page had changed. Next to my name, in blood-red ink, the word had appeared, "Claimed." The town still calls me the wealthiest girl. They still bow their heads when I walk past, though now their fear is sharper, heavier, because I'm not just rich, I'm a vessel. At night, when the clock strikes 3, I hear the whispers of the dead. They crawl through the halls, reminding me of the price of my inheritance. I can never leave the mansion. I can never escape the ledger. And when people ask me how it feels to be so rich, I only smile, because what I don't tell them is, I'm the wealthiest girl in town, and I'm paying for it in souls.